This one is a game that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
Cardinals, Vikings. Because
Yeah.
Vikings, obviously a house. Their record is fantastic. They're on, I don't want to say cruise control to the postseason, but certainly in a driver's seat spot to get into the postseason, even with the Detroit Lions being in this division and likely winning this division. They're playing really good football, and they're hosting a team in the Cardinals, which has been very hot and cold, and I'll get to that in a second. But they are a team that any given week they can put up a ton of points against you. They can come together and play pretty well defensively, even though it's a younger group. I'm just very intrigued to watch this football game. What's your matchup that matters here with these two teams?
Yeah, I want to go again to a fun one. But actually, before I get there, I just want to like really talk just about what happened this morning. Daniel Jones going to the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, I've been talking all season and even last season just about how incredibly good of a coach Kevin O'Connell is.
Mm-hmm.
You look at what he did after Kirk Cousins went down last year, playing live action Madden with backups in some cases that had just arrived and didn't know the names of their receivers, a la Josh Dobbs. And then this year, what he's done with Sam Darnold, how excited I was when I knew that JJ McCarthy, or when they selected JJ McCarthy, even before he got injured, just because I knew that they were going to be able to ease him in and really develop him, given that Kevin O'Connell is the driving force behind that. You also have Josh McCown as their quarterbacks coach. But then to see Daniel Jones go to Minnesota to be on their practice squad, to go to what I joked on Blue Sky was the Kevin O'Connell school for kids that can't QB good and want to do other good things good. It's just another testament to Kevin O'Connell and how good of a coach he is, and I just want to shout that out.
No, he's
clearly
awesome.
not going to be a factor in this game, but Daniel Jones, you made a really good call. But Marvin Harrison Jr. against these Vikings corners, we talk a lot about how blitz happy Brian Flores is, and the simulated pressures and just kind of the pressure disguises and all of the stunts and stuff that they pull up front. And then you also talk about the safeties and what Harrison Smith is able to do at his big age. And you look at the corners, and I mean, Cam Bynum, so much fun going into the Celebration Hall of Fame this year, given just on the Parent Trap alone, that was phenomenal. With Josh Metellus, but they have a 66.9 PFF grade, Vikings corners do, which ranks 13th. So it's kind of more towards the average or the mean as far as corner as coverage goes. And then you have Marvin Harrison Jr., who again is just so paramount to getting Kyler Murray comfortable and this offense going. You have Trey McBride, obviously, who's kicking ass for them as a tight end. But I do think Marvin Harrison Jr., having those 12 contested catches, again, giving Kyler Murray that person that can just go up and get some of these footballs, and then 17 catches gaining 15 or more yards. That's the vertical kind of stretch of this Arizona Cardinals offense, and you have a little bit of an opportunity against this Minnesota defense that, at least in coverage, is a little bit more average than they probably want to admit.
I'm going to wrap up my matchup that matters and plus factor sort of into one. The matchup that matters to me is James Conner versus the Vikings defensive line, and really just run defense overall, because I'm of the believer that Kyler Murray is great. And I'm going to get to Kyler Murray in a second. Trey McBride is great. I like Michael Wilson a lot. Obviously, Marvin Harris Jr. is a really good player. They've got a potential potent passing attack. The Cardinals, to me, have always been best when they are operating under, we've got to get James Conner going. Like, he's got to be the main identity of what we have here on offense. And the last 2 weeks, 43 rushing yards on 20 carries for James Conner. So it has clearly been a failure for them. Now, 2 weeks ago, they were really good. And then last week against the Seattle Seahawks, they're not good at all. Scored 6 points. So it's a perfect opportunity for them to sort of get back to the run game basics, in my opinion. For them to go, okay, we are going to make sure that we set up James Conner to win this football game for us. The issue is the Minnesota Vikings have by far the best run defense grade in the NFL as a team this year. 87.1. That's 5 points higher than the second place team. This team knows how to defend the run. And so, to me, a successful Cardinals football game will be allowing them to get the run game going and to play strong in the run against a run defense team that is pretty dang good at what they do. because on the flip side of things, the plus factor to me is Kyler Murray. Now, some people might look at that and say it should be flipped. Kyler Murray has to be the bigger emphasis, and James Conner needs to sort of be that plus additional factor. I think it's the other way around, and it has to be because of how Kyler has played this season. Kyler has as many multi-big-time throw games this year as he has 0 big-time throw games this year. It's 4 apiece. It has absolutely been when he is hot, man, he is hot, and this offense looks fantastic. And when he is not, like we saw last week, it's a struggle for them to move the football. So how do you even things out a little bit more? How do you raise your floor as an offense? You got to be able to get James Conner going. The last 2 weeks, they have not been able to do that. This week would be a great sort of get-right game in that category, but it's bad timing for that to be the case. So to me, it's sort of, I'm wrapping all this into one. For the Arizona Cardinals to be able to go into Minnesota and win this football game, it's got to be a more efficient game from James Conner, even against a tougher rush defense. And it's got to be one of those better Kyler Murray games. His floor cannot be as low as what we have seen from him so far this season. So that to me is sort of my all-in-one answer to that, which now we go to your plus factor to round things out.
Yeah, my plus factor is Sam Darnold in the red zone in particular, or just kind of
You sure it's not Daniel Jones in the red zone now?
Well,
the battering ram himself. People are going to be so mad when he vultures Aaron Jones touchdowns down the stretch for fantasy football.
My God.
I don't know if it's going to be this week or not.
Don't wish that. Don't wish that for people.
I'm not wishing. I'm predicting. I'm doing my job.
You're putting that in the universe.
I'm doing my job. If nobody else will say it, I've got to say it.
I want to, there's kind of been a rash of kind of more boneheaded Sam Darnold plays in the red zone. But I mean, just in general, this season, Sam Darnold is tied for the most red zone turnovers with 14, I believe.
Yeah.
It's not great. And over the last 3 weeks in general, Sam Darnold is also tied for the most turnover-worthy plays with 6. So he's putting the ball in harm's way a little bit more than you'd like, more than he was. It's resulted in kind of the Minnesota Vikings being pretty mediocre as far as red zone scoring goes. They rank 15th at 56.25%. So that's something that really has been the difference maker in a lot of these games for Minnesota. Now they're coming out on the right side of things for the most part, and you have the talent around you that can kind of pick you up if you're Sam Darnold, and you have a coach that still believes in you and all that wonderful stuff. But I would really love to see Sam Darnold kind of put a lid on it, not let this get too far out of control and not really put your guys in some sticky situations where, you're beating the Chicago Bears by like a last minute or overtime field goal and stuff like that. I mean, that was a game that they probably should have lost. And now you're going into a game where I think the Cardinals, as inconsistent as they kind of been overall on the season, this is a game that the Minnesota Vikings could very much be in danger of losing, but it is at home. So there's that.
I'm just really, I've said it. I'm excited to watch this one because there's a variety of different ways that this game could go. And these are two teams that certainly have playoff aspirations in the NFC, and both would, it goes without saying, but like both would really love to win this game against a good opponent. So I think this is going to be a fun one. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. And if you don't have a PFF Plus subscription, you can get one to see all the premium stats that we talked about here on the show, plus the expert betting and fantasy advice over at subscribe.pff.com. The description is also right below. So if you are not a PFF Plus subscriber, you can become one today.